my Mustang blew up. And we haven't really talked about it, so let's talk about it in detail. People are always asking, like, should you get this transmission? And before it blew up, I had said, you should be fine as long as you don't really drive it too hard. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, do me a huge favor, go down and subscribe. Leave a like on this video before we get started. So we've talked quite a bit about the Mustang and what's happened to it and all that. I'll go through that story in just a second for the people who are new. But in today's video, I want to talk about whether I would recommend this transmission after the issues I've had with it, and what kind of happened to it, what led to the situation where it blew up. Was I, just slamming gears every single day, or was it just a thing where I was casually driving and it blew? We're going to talk about everything in today's video, and whether or not I would recommend someone else to purchase an Mt-82 6-speed Mustang, because a lot of people are starting to stay away from these cars because of the transmissions. So let's pull the car out and let's talk about it. There's not many things that are better in the morning than a Mustang cold start. Yeah, this car is really loud. On cold startup, this car is like really loud. It quiets down after a second then, but when it's cold, yeah, it like sparks into life. So here it is for the people who don't know, my Mustang GT 5.0. Coming to the interior, of course, it is a 6-speed. Let's go really quickly over what happened with this transmission and the storyline for the people who don't know. So back, I want to say in May, I was driving the car for a video. I was driving it around, and that day I was driving it a little spiritedly, and I was just enjoying the car in the back roads. And then what ended up happening when I was doing that pull, I went from first to second, clutch blew up. First and second synchro blew up. And a lot of other things happened, I guess, because my transmission kept leaking, this, that. People are always asking, like, should you get this transmission? And before it blew up, I had said, you should be fine as long as you don't really drive it too hard. And that's kind of still the case, but it's not a very strong transmission if you do plan to drive it a little bit. I probably hadn't done a launch on the car in over a year at that point. I've probably done maybe 3 or 4 of them total. Again, my car was used, so maybe the previous owner before me did a decent amount of launches and a little bit of wear, but I doubt it because of the tires were brand new, about 7,000 miles on them, and that's how much I picked the car up with. So it didn't seem like the car was abused to any extent like that. But again, I don't know the habits of the previous owner, but again, I've driven the car way more than the previous owner at this point, and my transmission blew up at about 20,000 miles. But in terms of daily abuse on the transmission, there wasn't very much. And there was a couple times where I, launched it for a video like once, maybe twice. I can only probably remember like 3 to 4 launches that I've done in this car total. And a launch puts a lot of wear on the clutch. And to be fair, I'm not gonna launch the car again after what happened, and I didn't really enjoy launching the car anyways. And in terms of wear and tear on a daily basis, I drove the car a lot, but most of the miles were just me cruising on a highway or just going down, just casually driving the car. It's not like I drove it hard every single day and that caused it to break. It was just like one day that I decided to be a little more hard on the car. It just didn't like it, and it just blew the clutch. And there's going to be the people who have their Mt-82s who never even drive them hard, and then they're going to say, I've had my car for this long, haven't had a problem. And there's certain transmissions that don't have issues. People drive them a little harder, and they, for the car's life, don't have issues on the car. The 2018 plus cars seem to have a lot more issues than the earlier ones do, but it seems like the 2018, 2019, 2020 cars, 2021 cars are more prone to having issues, and I'm not sure if that's a fact, but that's what I've seen. I'd say the larger majority of owners I've seen complaining about their cars are 3rd gen owners, and I have a 3rd gen. I have a 2019 car. So I guess the question is, should you buy one? And now that I've owned it, I've had the issues, got that done and over with, I wouldn't buy another one probably, but there aren't very many options either, because the Mach 1 is like a $60,000 car. I can't justify that for a GT. Like a GT350, 60K, you know, makes sense. GT500, a older one for 60K makes sense. A ZL1 for 60K makes sense. A GT with like a couple add-ons from Shelby, like a transmission, rear cradle, and like 20 extra horsepower, doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, it's a hard thing because I decided to keep my car, even though I had the issues, because I'm okay with potentially building it and spending like maybe $1,000 on a clutch, this or that. I would say this: if you're looking to buy a new or newer, slightly used car, you should be fine because you have the warranty backing you up and you know how it's been driven the entire time. I don't know what the first 7,000 miles of my car looked like. I assume they weren't that hard, but I can't tell that. If you're buying a slightly used one, you still have the warranty backing you up, but you know, we see shops like Ben Calamer, they build the transmissions. We see people replacing clutches, upgraded clutch, and they stop having issues. So there's a lot of things you can do. But once it's a completely stock setup, they don't seem to be the strongest. And some cars are subject to issue. Not all of them, but some of them are subject to have issues like mine does. You know, for the people who are watching this, you guys are most likely interested in the Mustang, interested in cars, so you're wanting a manual and wanting to know if it's worth it. I'd say for like car enthusiasts, it's not the worst thing in the world because you can replace a couple parts here or there, even though you shouldn't have to do it. Ford should offer a better transmission, but you can improve it without spending over $5,000. You can get a new clutch, new flywheel for a little bit. You can fully build the trans for about $4,000. So it's expensive, but it's also an expensive car. It's for like a non-car person. If they bought a Mustang and they started having issues with it, they're gonna throw it to the side. But every car has their thing that brings it down, I guess. And for the Mustang, it's the transmission, because the motor's amazing and the whole platform is amazing and the transmission just holds it down. So I wouldn't just throw the Mustang to the side because the transmissions have little, you know, little quirks in them. I would weigh the options. I would do a little more research on the car because you have warranty backing you up. The whole transmission isn't just blowing up. It's just a couple of parts, which can be expensive if you don't have warranty. But again, there's build options. There's other things you can do to make them better. And Ford does offer an extended warranty because they lost a $5 million lawsuit with this transmission. So I hope that does a decent job at explaining what happened to my car and my thoughts behind how good or how bad this transmission is. It's a bad transmission, but it's not as bad as everyone says. It's not the strongest, and I wish Ford did better, but it's what we have. Let's hope Ford does better in the new Mustang. The new Mustang launches next week. I'll be taking my car down to Detroit, Michigan, and if you see my car in Detroit, say what's up. I'll be at the launch. I'm hopefully gonna get a spot in the Mustang crowd rally, whatever they're gonna call it. I guess we'll see how everything plays out. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a huge favor, go leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's all I have for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.